Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for letting me come out. I wanted to make a comment to Hugh and a shameless plug for Sony Walkmans when you were in Hinton, so thank you for that. And the fact that, you know, we don't talk a lot about Sony Walkmans these days as we should because of things that you're talking about, but we're glad to see that happen. I come here to just demonstrate the latest e-reader for you, but I also come as a book lover. I grew up in a household, my mother was a librarian, and I have an absolute passion for books, like I get the sense that most of us here do as well. And what I find now that I'm actually a consumer, because one of the books I'm demonstrating is my own. I actually bought it myself. I didn't get it from the company, they didn't give it to me, I bought it myself. And what I like about the fact that I can just take an awful lot of books with me and have them at my convenience. And you talked before about the time to read. When you have a large collection with you very handy, you'll find the time to read. You'll find those little moments. When I got here earlier on and I had 50 minutes, I caught up and I finished reading Marley and Me outside this afternoon. So it really doesn't work very well to get to your books when it's convenient for you. So the latest version of the reader is the, I'm just hitting spacebar, or there we go. Oh, I see. There we go. I'm working for Sony. I shouldn't be this technology challenged. Just using arrow buttons? There we go. That's the first home page of the new 700. I'm going to focus a bit more on what the enhancements are in the 700, and afterwards I'd be happy to talk to anybody about both books. And it's the accessibility and the usability of the product and how we get to things. I'm going to run through that new front page for you. So the one thing obviously you're doing with this thing is reading. So no matter where you're going through the book, or if you're looking at different novels, whenever you turn the page back on, just hit continue reading. It takes you back where you left off. All right. Now, I don't know if you guys tell me whether I'm normal or not. I don't read one book at once. My wife doesn't understand it, but I read 2 or 3, 4, 5 at a go. It depends on my mood and what book I want to pick up. So it's nice to be able to jump around very, very easily and then just go right to the spot where you've been reading previously in that particular book. You have an access to all your library. It's very easily organized and it's very simple to toggle through it. What the 700 adds compared to the 505, the previous model, the still current model, is the ability to add your own notes, and I'm going to highlight how that can be done. I'm not trying to pigeonhole these books, but this is probably for the nonfiction reader more important than it would be for the fiction reader. But correct me if I'm wrong, because I've been known to do that too. You can make your own collection, you can buy collections, you can do anything you want to organize your books. Again, store them in the way that you want to use them yourself. And, well, we want to do maybe a bit more with our books, so we do have music if you wish to. Certainly you can store some pictures, be it e-ink technology, it's black and white, but if you haven't seen someone for a while and they want to see the latest picture of the kids, you can easily show that to them as well. And then, like any other electronic device, you can customize your settings as you see fit. So the 700 has a nice large 6-inch touchscreen. That's new. The 505 is not a touchscrreen. Some of the advantages, you can just, it's more like reading. You just use your finger to wipe the page, to turn the page, instead of hitting a button. So it's all about the user experience. Like all the other models we have, they use the e-ink display. The 700 adds in an LED reading light. So if you're reading late at night, you don't want to disturb your wife like you did earlier, you can use the internal reading light. It does consume obviously a little bit more power, but it does give you that convenience. I do want to talk a bit more and get to it about the search functionality. I think it's kind of cool. And the other information there. So nice big display, it's easy to read. And I think that's the advantage that taking into play with e-ink, and come and see me later if you have not seen one close up before. But so far at least, it does the best in mimicking the feel and the sense of a book. It's not backlit, it's very easy on your eyes. You can read it all day long, on the beach, when you're on holidays, at night, wherever you want to go. No, it's just like any other book. If it's in your bedroom at night, you got to put the night light on. With the 700, the light's included. But what I like is that it mimics the feel of a book, and it is that simple and easy to read. Again, built-in reading light is added for the 700. This I find an interesting application that's been added to the 700 versus the current 505 is the ability to highlight text, do a word search, and to make all kinds of different notes attached to it. So again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't see that much of a use necessarily unless I'm studying a fiction book, but certainly in the nonfiction world, the ability to attach information to it and make it available to you at any time you want. If you want to do a keyword search like you demonstrated earlier on the stanza, it is that simple. you want to look up a certain topic, you just punch the word in on the virtual keyboard. Because it's touchscreen, you can just hit the buttons right on the screen, and you have instant access and easy to get to. For the visually challenged, like myself, I regrettably am just waiting for my bifocals to come in at my optometrist. The ability to change the font size, I find myself even, as I get towards the end of the day and you get a bit tired, just to bring the font size up one size does make it a lot easier for the experience when you're reading it. But the main difference, again, just to highlight the difference, you have 3 choices of size in the 505, and now we have 5 choices. But we've also added a zoom feature on the 700. So if you have a diagram, say, in the book, or an image, or you want this up, you can just zoom in by touching it, and it will bring in the zoom in of that screen. So again, I think what we need to understand and make available to the consumer, I work for a consumer-based company, and it's all about enhancing that experience. You want to give them every opportunity to read it as easily as possible, and that's what you can do with these types of features. Lots of battery life, and I'm a Sony propeller head. I've been wearing my beanie for years, and I'm all about the technology, and I can talk to death about the technology, but all these products, the most important feature that no one talks about is battery life. It doesn't matter what the electronic product is, it has to have a meaningful battery life. The worst thing is whatever that device is, you've all experienced it when the battery goes dead. With the e-reader, we don't talk about it in time, but I have gone on holidays for 2 weeks. I probably read in the area of 5 books, and I didn't deplete half my battery. So it's not easy to equate 7,500 page turns. I think it's War and Peace 5 times, okay, continuously, if you could read for that long. But the point here being is you don't have to worry about it. And it charges very quickly and easily, because the connectivity to get books into it and to update and all that thing is through your computer. So once you've plugged in the USB, it will charge that way. And many different portable devices today have all types of USB chargers. They just plug them in and it starts charging. And it doesn't take a long time. 3 hours and you're going to get about 90% battery capacity. So it will happen for you quickly. The internal storage has been doubled on the 700, so about 350 average size books you could bring with you. It's expandable. Memory stick dual and SD memory card slot is included, so you can easily just grab as much memory you want that way and expand it. So you literally can bring a library with you. And again, that's the difference for me as a user that I find interesting. I don't have to limit myself to the 3 books I'm going to bring with me on my holidays. I can bring part of my library, I can bring all of my library and have it with me. And then I make the choice of what I want to read once I got that pina colada on the beach. And I don't have to worry about it beforehand. So it's nice to bring that with you that way. We support many different formats, virtually anything that you could think of. Certainly working in a proper format, say EPUB and that sort of things, will give you better functionality than just a text-based document. I like the functionality. Someone was asking earlier about chapter search and index search. If the book is made properly, it'll work properly on our device, and you're going to have a lot easier capability to get through the device. And the last piece from us is not exclusive to the ebook store, but we do have our own portal to purchase books. I've bought books all over the net, and it just depends on where, quite frankly, I'm a shopper, so I'm going to go where I'm going to get the best price. And I do like them free as well. And it's a great way to get the readers involved with different books and introduce them to different books. But once you're interested in a book, I found that when I purchased my book the first time, it had a few excerpts for me to start reading the book and see what it's like. And for example, during the Oscars on the ebook store, they had a promotion for books that had been made into movies. And they offered a decent discount, and I ended up picking Marley and Me, which I just finished, and I picked up Frost Nixon at what I felt was a reasonable cost, and I now have it with me, and I can use it anytime I want. So that's my presentation. I'm going to be here for a while. I'd be happy to show anybody individually. I guess I'm going to have a beer with you later when we do that, or however you want to do that. I'd love to show you the products. I just couldn't do it in this environment, so you had to sit with me through a slideshow, and I'd be happy to take any of your questions. Please. Not at this point. Yeah. Anything's possible. He asked if we had Wi-Fi. Yes, please.
When is the Canadian store coming?
Right now, we are using the U.S. ebook store. The nice thing about that, it's easier for us in Sony Canada. In the rare instance where we have different publishers for books, the ebook store is offering the Canadian versions as well to Canadian customers. So it shouldn't hinder a Canadian user to get the book they want to see.
When is the Apple program coming? The Apple desktop?
Oh, the functionality for Apple? I couldn't tell you at this point in time. There was a question over here? Yes.
I was just wondering, do you have any statistics on who the users are, like the demographics of your...
I probably do, and I'll try to do the best off my head, but I would say on average it is a very solid mix, because there is a real attraction to this kind of, for a university student obviously. But what we're seeing a lot is just the typical people with money, right? So, 80 plus, to be honest, right? So 80K plus family households, and more often than not beyond 30, okay? Which is contrary to technology, but it fits. But we're seeing a lot of use, obviously, with textbooks and students these days, too. So it's not a narrow demographic at all. Yes, sir?
In your mind, what's been the hurdle to getting wireless onto the device?
Well, that's a hard question for me to answer off the top as well. It's not a hurdle. I mean, we can install it. I mean, there's no reason why we couldn't make it work wirelessly. Why has the engineer made a conscious decision not to? Right now, the way that we're looking at integrating it with is through your computer. But I know for a fact that one of my best friends who travels the GO train every morning says, once you've got this book where I can get my morning paper that way as well, then I'm going to get one. So I think it's inevitable. So I won't say why we haven't done it, because I think we're going to do it at some point in time. Yes, sir?
Just a quick question. In the U.S., there's been a lot more larger retailers, Target, Walmart, that have picked up the reader, but you don't find that at, say, Walmart in Canada or large retailers. So is there success in the U.S. that is ahead of Canada, or is it just that they're just putting out there and not hiding?
Well, it's actually, if you compare the population size, our sales are fairly equivalent to the U.S. We sell way more of them online, okay? And I guess what I'm saying by that is it's a technology piece. That customer is more tech savvy. To make that purchase online versus at Walmart, it makes more sense for them. But we do have them available at our stores as well, but not as many as you would see in the U.S. I think we're good. Well, thank you so much for letting me come by. I appreciate it. Thank you.